Nice touch.
Guys, can you tell me what you like about the Garfield Halloween special?
Well, Binky's workout routine because Garfield, instead of doing like jumping jacks like this, he was just going like.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
What am I doing?
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
What does he tell him though?
To do jumping jacks with him.
Why?
Because and then he just says this. If you don't do any of these exercises, you'll grow up to be worthless. And when I was little, I thought he said worthless.
Remember, kids, if you don't exercise with Binky, you're gonna grow up to be worthless!
I hate you, Binky.
Hello, and welcome to a very spooky episode of the EnthusiJam. My name is Dave Roman, and I'm super excited to hang out with some friends and talk about cartoons and Halloween. Yeah, everybody's favorite time of the year. As some of you may know, my usual jam is Christmas cartoons, but today we're going to be talking about Halloween cartoons, which I'm sure we can all agree there should be more of, and let's celebrate them as best that we can. I'm gonna ask my friends to introduce themselves, and then also ask them what's their jam, so we know a little bit about what your favorite things in the world are. Start off with my friend Todd, who's the first time Todd has been on the show. Welcome, Todd.
Thanks for having me, sir. I'm Todd. Todd Webb. I draw comics. Right now, been focused on a daily comic strip called The Poet for about 6 years. And I play music. And my jam, I guess, would be comics / music and movies. I know, all the regular stuff that people are into. I like those things.
Todd, did you have a favorite Halloween cartoon growing up?
Halloween cartoon? I did not have a favorite Halloween cartoon.
Or Halloween.
Well, I mean, I guess the Great Pumpkin would be the cartoon. My brain on Halloween goes to Pete and Pete for Halloweeny. But yeah, for cartoon, I guess it would have to be the Great Pumpkin.
It's the Great Pumpkin! He's rising up out of the pumpkin patch!
Chan, the one and only Spooky Chan. This is your time of year.
It is my time of year. That is my jam. Halloween is my jam. Not to skip over who I am. But yes, I go by Spooky Chan online. So yes, this is my time to shine. Yeah, so I'm Chandra Free. As I said, Spooky Chan online. I am a comics artist, prose writer, all that good stuff type of person. I'm working on a prose novel right now, a young adult adaptation of my comic, The God Machine. And yeah, Halloween is my jam. Let's go with it. And if we're gonna go with a favorite Halloween cartoon growing up, it's this one that we're about to talk about.
And then Sai, who's dressed up for Halloween already. We've got a couple of days, but you're ready for tricks and treats?
I am ready. I'm so ready. I'm Sai. I'm an educator. I'm pop culture enthusiast. So I'm excited about this time of year. And I think the Great Pumpkin would be my favorite too, or the one that I've seen a lot.
For sure. It's I think it's considered the greatest of all time. I grew up in an era where where the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown and Garfield's Halloween special, originally titled Garfield in Disguise, which is when it first aired, they called it that. And then they changed it the second year, I think. They kind of would play them back to back, like for what felt like most of my childhood. I don't know, it might have only been like 2 or 3 years, but back then things, seemed like really important. And
Wednesday, it's a hair-raising Halloween happening.
Can't she begin it?
First, that Emmy-winning Fat Cat hits the trick-or-treat trail.
I'm no scaredy cat.
It's all new Garfield's Halloween Adventure. Then,
I hear the Great Pumpkin.
the Halloween classic, It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, right after Garfield Wednesday.
and as I've often talked about, cartoon specials at night were probably like, the ultimate exciting thing to happen in my lifetime. Like, ooh, we get to stay up late and watch a cartoon. Normally cartoons were only on in the day. Gummy bears.
That's my jam right now. Animal Bears Fall Edition.
I hopped up on the.
They're leaf flavored.
Burn.
It's orange, lemon,
Fallen
and
leaves.
raspberry.
Speaking of like gummy bears and Disney Afternoon and prime time, the Rescue Rangers was a prime time, like when they first came out. My mom's like, you gotta watch this new thing. I'm like, what the heck? What is Chip and Dale? Like with Donald Duck? And like, no, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. It was such a special little treat.
Absolutely. Yeah, they did that with the first, I think, 2 or 3 episodes of DuckTales as well. They kind of treated it like a little movie.
Yeah.
And they showed it at night. Like, I think it was like a few days before it started airing on the weekdays. But yeah, I always loved that. That to me was like such a huge, huge deal. Todd, did you read Garfield comic strips as a kid?
I mean, yes. I've never been a huge Garfield fan, but I had the books from the library because any comic book or comic strip collection that you could get, I would get at the library.
Yeah.
And Garfield was at its peak back then, so like I think Garfield was the first one to do those like the weird horizontal books too. So like those things were those were easy to get at the library. So I definitely read Garfield.
Yeah, that's how I discovered The Far Side. Was I would go to the library and try to find any cartoons or comic books that I could. Nowadays, graphic novels in libraries is like that's just obvious. Everybody loves that. But when we were us older timers,
it was anything you could get your
In the newspaper. That's where I read mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Garfield
I'd even read
strip and-
Doonesbury, even though I didn't understand anything that was going on because it was all like super political and grown up, and I was a kid. But I knew Reagan was bad. That's all I remember.
I apologize. The cat who's normally quiet for some reason has decided now to start.
Well,
piping.
I hope
cats
it
want to
isn't
talk about
my-
Garfield.
Perfect.
My antlers.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to put a little motion sensitive warning for anybody who gets motion sick.
I was a big Garfield fan
Your shirt gave.
growing up. Well, nowadays, I like Garfield in an ironic, existential kind of way. All those existential, just like Garfield minus Garfield, and then other takes on it, biblically accurate Garfield, all that. But I mean, when I was a small child, I actually appreciated Garfield. I read all those long books. I read the Garfield's in the newspaper. I was just obsessed. I couldn't get enough of Garfield as a kid. And I would draw, I can still draw Garfield from memory. But that was like one of my big things I loved drawing. And then when I made my first original character, it was a snake and it had Garfield eyes.
Did we talk about this? I did the same thing. That's so funny. Yeah. Not a snake, but I think I had like a bunny character and a beaver character, but they all had those googly eyes with the little nose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To this day, if I'm doing some kind of like animal or something like that, I will do the nose, the way that everything goes. Also, it's kind of like Brothersy that I'll mix the two styles together. But yeah, I was obsessed. I was literally obsessed with Garfield, and then eventually I found out that like committee writing and it's not funny. So you grow up, and but there's still some charming factors to those original first strips that he was doing.
I'm a pretty adamant Garfield defender, and that includes a Jim Davis defender, I guess, as well. And I've been kind of glad to hear recently from cartoonists who have met him and interacted with him that he seems to be a pretty decent boss and a pretty, decent person to work for. But maybe, Chan has other stories, but we won't focus on negative things.
No negative. I didn't even, I thought about it and like, I don't want to bring it up.
Okay.
Let's leave politics out of it.
Yes, let's leave it to our childhoods.
This isn't the Doonesbury Halloween special, you guys.
or the Dilbert Halloween special. Let's just put it like everybody's great compared to the creator of Dilbert. But anyway, to be fair, I think as a kid I probably would have like loved any cartoons that were shown to me. Pretty open, but there was something about Garfield that definitely struck a chord with a lot of people, and it is something that I've always been a little curious about, like why is Garfield so popular with kids? Because so much of what he complains about is like not necessarily relatable to kids.
First of all, Garfield is a foodie, okay?
I'm gonna stop pretending I'm something I'm not. I'm just gonna be me, Garfield the house cat. Gourmet, bon vivant, world traveler, jet-setting playboy.
Yeah, I guess a kid's food.
Best foods ever. And lasagna, I had an aunt that made the best lasagna ever. So I was like, of course lasagna is your favorite. It's delicious. Come on. He's a foodie.
Yeah, even though lasagna would literally kill him because it has ingredients that kill cats in it.
Is that true?
Which is something we should talk about, that he's very human-like.
Sure.
Later.
Yeah, but garlic and onions can actually affect a cat's digestive system and kill them. So that's the irony of Garfield always eating lasagna. He's superhuman or super Catian.
Guts of steel.
There was a really interesting article in The Believer a couple of years ago about Garfield and why and how Garfield stays popular throughout different generations. And the internet has a lot to do with it. But also that pinnacle of peak Garfield in culture happened, I think, because of the suction cup toy that people put in their cars in the window.
Yeah, those are huge. Yeah,
I think that is the one thing that made Garfield be everywhere. And
I think it's I think that was definitely the most iconic.
It was like the thing that made it a something everybody knew.
Pop culture, like the awareness of it for sure was like very huge. But there was a Garfield phone that was really popular.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Traitor, I believe that you've received the death message from our ninja empire. Ninja is supreme and you have double-crossed it. Why did you do that?
The ninja empire is evil. I have to reform the ninja empire. That is why I took away the golden ninja warrior.
You've got 3 days in which to return the golden ninja warrior, or else you die.
Go to hell.
To this day, I know tons of people who, like, if you just mention the Garfield glasses that they had, not glasses, but the glasses you drink out of from McDonald's, and people get like really like emotional talking about those glasses, even though
they're in every antique store. If you go to antique stores, you always find at least one Garfield glass.
Yeah,
that would kill you.
Do not drink from. Disclaimer: don't actually drink from.
That's right.
Glasses.
That's right.
Long-term lead poisoning is not something that we encourage on this show. But yeah, I think subject for another episode where we can get like dive deep. But just real quickly, I do think that like there is a bridge to be gap between like what Todd's talking about, which is like the internet, and then what Chan was talking about as well, like the sort of memification of Garfield and the sort of ironic love of Garfield. But I do think there is still a sincere love of Garfield because I go to school visits all the time. I probably go to, school, at least one school a month, if not two to three. And I will draw Garfield. And I know my best friend who draws comics and does school visits. He draws Garfield at his school visits. I know at least two other cartoonists who will draw Garfield at their school visits. And it's a crowd pleaser. Like the kids are very genuine. And they're not,
I can't throw it out. The kids won't allow it.
Right. I visited your
like,
school.
Do you still have the Garfield? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So I like the songs and the old man like story.
And also, well, I like when they are going like kind of like this. They know who we are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so funny.
So there is something about Garfield in its pure form that still does speak to kids. And I agree with Chan that the original Garfield comics are not bad. Like if you go back and read the first couple of years, my theory is that like it became too popular, it exploded, and then Jim Davis like couldn't keep up with it, and he had to hire people to like take over and do it. And you're right that it became like a writing team or whatever, and artists. And I've actually met people who drew the Garfield comic strip, and they speak very highly about their experience doing it. It's not like a negative thing. It's like it was a great job and it was a great thing to do, and we learned a lot. And I've often talked about there's one of my favorite books is Garfield's 9 Lives, which was exploration of Garfield through different art styles. And as a kid, that was a really mind-blowing thing to see the different ways artists can really celebrate the uniqueness to how they draw. And in that case, there were some of the stories were painted, some of them were done in pencil, some of them were done in like charcoal. And it was just like, from an artist standpoint, just like really creative and fun.
You know what?
That for me was like a very influential book.
Yeah, so it'd be really interesting to also review over that cartoon of Garfield 9 Lives. Yeah, that's a really interesting, weird bit of cartoon history there.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that brings me back to Garfield, and that'll tie it back. Like we'll get to this. Let's start talking about Garfield's Halloween adventure. I kind of like that he's not afraid to get scary. It's not afraid to try to really be creepy and scary at some points. And this is not unique just to the Halloween special. There was another special called Garfield in the Rough, I think, where Garfield's like camping in the woods and there's a panther in the loose. And that's basically like trying to kill John and Garfield. And they are basically just trying to survive being mauled by a panther that escaped from the zoo or something.
John, we gotta pack up. We gotta get out of here right now. There's a panther out there, and it's gonna get us.
Where have you been, Garfield? Here, have some dried fruit.
Read my lips. We are in grave danger.
And it has some really scary moments. Like they are not like they make that panther genuinely. It's not like, hi, I'm a panther. Like it's a real panther trying to kill the cartoon Garfield. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about this special. I was a big fan. I don't know about you guys. I like kids stuff that gets scary. I like when there's a little bit of teeth to things. And I think 80s kids were traumatized by many, many movies and specials.
They got built up.
Return to Us.
Oh, Mombi. The Wheelers, all that.
So one
So
thing to
let's,
note is that this special is Emmy Award winning, right?
yeah, it was all hand animated. The backgrounds are all hand painted. There's a lot of love to it, and usually these specials were produced very quickly, from what I have read. Um, and I always thought that was well. Like the Peanuts Christmas special was made in like 2 weeks or something,
Yeah, it
and,
was
Oh,
and people are still watching it 50 years later, mistakes and all. And some of those mistakes are what's the charm. And I think that's what I like about these old Garfield cartoons as well, is the hand drawnness of it comes through, and there is like a little rawness to it. That like now, if they made a Garfield cartoon, it would. I mean, obviously they're all CGI or whatever, but everything's so polished looking now. Um,
So yeah, so you talk about like that style of art form, and it just brings the nostalgia of feline tomfoolery. And I think that's just something that people gravitate towards year after year after year.
for sure, for sure, for sure. Um, so okay, so the cartoon starts off, which by the way, if you guys watch the Peanut specials, like a lot of those specials were based on the comic strips, and the first three Garfield specials were exactly like that too, where they like basically combined a bunch of comic strip storylines into an episode. This is the first one where they did an original story that didn't appear in the comic strips. But if you were nerdy like me, um, you know that they would release these books like a couple of weeks before the specials came on the air. And if you get these books, they always have at least one scene that didn't make it to the TV special, something that was like cut or like an alternate ending or something. So they're really fun to seek out um, these original books. But I love this cartoon too as well. So it's gonna be a little hard for me to talk about it without just like gushing. Um, I like am obsessed with Lou Rawls, who does the music, like who sings the songs.
My
Um,
gosh, the music in this special is epic.
I think Lou Rawls has such a sexy voice. Like
You'll never find, as long as you live, someone who loves you tender like I do.
oh, it's so good. It's
oh,
like Isaac Hayes,
yeah,
kind
just
of
velvety.
What
Like
should I
very
be?
white.
yeah, Barry White. Like yeah, it's that same
Yeah, he's
vibe.
got that rich like 70s into 80s kind of sound.
Is the soundtrack on Spotify?
No, it's not.
Um,
Sorry,
yeah, you check.
This is a thing that me and my husband go through every couple of weeks. We try to look for this soundtrack. The Here Comes Garfield is actually on Spotify and Apple Music right now, if you're curious about that.
Okay.
That was
Yeah, because I
that
was
was the
gonna look it
first
up and then
Garfield special.
forgot.
Yeah, that
Look
was the
out,
first.
because here comes Garfield.
Well, he's a fat cat, a cool cat, nobody's fool cat, but look out, cause here comes Garfield. He never keeps fit, he's too hip, he likes his catnip. Well, look out, cause here comes Garfield.
All right, so we start off with Garfield. He's in bed. He's woken up by Binky the Clown. This might be the first appearance of Binky the Clown. I don't remember. Binky the Clown is a predecessor to Krusty the Clown. Like if you've seen Krusty the Clown on The Simpsons, it's basically the same kind of idea. Really bad kid show host. Really obnoxious. Like it's jarring, like right out the gate. And Garfield is like, ah! And I feel that every single time. As much as I like the special, I do hate Binky the Clown as well. I think there's like almost jokes about like killing Binky the Clown. You're like, yes, please kill Binky the Clown.
Yeah.
But Dave, before they dive into that, they open with that scene of like Americana, because everyone's sitting in front of their TV, and then they hit you with Binky the Clown.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't remember Binky the Clown at all. I haven't seen this special since I was a kid, and all I remembered was that it was vaguely spooky at the time, and pirates. I just remembered like a pirate theme, and
Yeah.
that was accurate.
That
So
was,
I
that
I
was
have a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Your memory's good. Your memory is good. Yeah, they really lean into the pirate. The pirate thing kind of becomes, in a way, it's like a
That's,
pirate story to some degree.
well,
Um,
that's part two of it in a lot of ways. It's like two cartoons in one. The
It's
spooky
a
yeah,
side.
pirate too, so it's like, what are the odds? You just happen to run into some ghost pirates 30 minutes after throwing on a peglet.
it's a cautionary tale. Don't play around because you'll find
He
out.
manifested it.
I have to say, going back to this year after year after year, I do watch it regularly every year. Um, it formed a lot of my weird humor because Garfield's so sarcastic
That's what I was going to ask you
and
about. Is like, does that
yeah,
speak to kids? Like, does the sarcasm, is that one of the things that really speaks to people?
yeah, I mean it's wild, but I mean like Garfield's really edgy. Like he's an edge
Yeah.
lord. Like, he's saying stuff like whoever came up with this should be dragged out into the street and shot. Like, oh, this is a kid's show. I don't know if he does it in this episode, but in all the other ones, yes, he says that. That's his catchphrase, which
Yeah.
is a weird catchphrase.
Just like dripping with sarcasm, and the lack of enthusiasm is just like jarring.
Yeah, and he's
And
also
it,
like an insult comic. He's almost like a
Comic to insult to hook.
insult comic, right? And there's like the scene where, like, as soon as he sees John, because that's like once he wakes up and decides I want to experience Halloween, because he learns about Halloween from television, he goes to John in the morning, and immediately he just like starts like doing like one-liners on John. Then he sees Odie later. He starts doing one-liners on Odie. He's just
yeah, he kind
relentless.
of does a whole "your mama" kind of act.
Yeah.
It's so ugly. Yeah, his IQ is so low.
Odie's so stupid he'd have to stand on a chair to raise his IQ. He's ugly, too. It would take two of them to get any uglier. He's so ugly, he wouldn't have to wear a mask to go trick-or-treating on Halloween. Hey, wait a minute.
It's like, wow, he is a stand-up comic, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think this is like the meta-ness is one of the things that I always appreciated as a kid. I always loved cartoons like Danger Mouse and other things like where the characters would break the fourth wall and talk to the camera, and they were kind of like a little self-aware. Although with Garfield, it never does it so much that it like breaks the reality. Like I think the reality is always kind of set. It's just that Garfield does it, and it's almost like there's almost another take
Really
of like
quick.
he's like this lonely character who is this is some sort of coping mechanism for him that he needs to kind of like pretend he has like imaginary friends or like he's on a TV show or something, and that's how he feel like deals with his own self-esteem issues.
Or is this in John's head? And John is just making up everything that Garfield is doing. Even
Well,
though,
I think that's the comic strip, like when they do the Garfield,
yeah.
Garfield, obviously. But these specials don't work on the conceit because there's a lot of stuff that's happening where John's not like even remotely participating
Yeah.
in it. But that's what I will say. So one of the things, like even before the phenomenon of what would it be like if we removed Garfield from the art and we just have John, even as a kid, I spent a lot of time analyzing the way in which Garfield and John communicate because they, at least in these early days, they tried to walk this fine line of John is talking to Garfield. Garfield can understand what John is saying, but John doesn't actually hear Garfield speaking. He's just reacting to physical things that Garfield is doing. So if John says something in response to what Garfield is doing, it's just purely based on like his emotion, like, oh, the face he's making or the body language, or in some cases like he's eating or, doing something to him. But we hear Garfield's dialogue, but John doesn't. And I always thought that that was like really interesting to try to track, like, are they able to consistently keep that logic system going, or will they, or will it break at some point? And for the most part, it's like it's always like skirting the edge, but at no point does John respond so specifically to like anything that Garfield said that you're like, oh, he heard what he said.
Arrr! It do be a landlubber who be shoving lasagna in his face. I declare this booty property of the Queen.
Hey, what do you think you are?
Or at least in this particular instance.
Well, in this
'Cause I
special,
was
I think all of the early specials.
Yeah, absolutely. Though it's really weird. He treats them like, not only does he treat them as like first pets, he treats them as children. He's like, here's some sacks. Go out there and go get that candy, kids.
I rewound that part. I was just like, wait, what? And I literally turned on the closed captions to make sure like I was hearing it, because he's like, yeah, it's like they're kids. He's like, don't stay out too late.
Yeah.
Like, here's your sacks. Like, see you later. And I was like, what's going on here? That's your dog and your cat.
Yeah, well, I think in all versions, John is not exactly sane, right?
That's his psychotic break showing itself.
Yeah, and that's I think true in all the later specials too. Like John is always a little like,
He was a cartoonist in the early strips, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
That's part of why he's crazy.
Yeah, and he did have a roommate at first. There was a roommate that he lived with that just kind of,
Layman?
what's his name? You remember?
Layman, I think, something like that. It was a weird name. I
Yeah.
know that much. And he's got like a mustache,
little
beady
squiggle.
eyes.
Little
Yeah.
squiggle. Little squiggle.
But you know what?
There's also
Go ahead.
Go on. No, I was just gonna say there's rumors on the internet of what happened to that guy too.
No, but what I find interesting is that, you know, he's like flipping through the channel like many of us do, trying to find something. And this subversive message like comes through and like gets into his brain, and it's all he can think about. And he was like, ooh, Halloween and candy. And like, even when he wakes up, he's like, ooh, the candy. Ooh, like, you know, he's under a spell of this insane clown.
Well, Garfield, he's just like on Halloween, he just goes like this. Candy, 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 candy. It's yours, Garfield. Well, I can't wait for all that candy, candy, candy. He's just like that. It's funny.
You just reminded me of another animated Halloween special that I forget about all the time, but the Angry Beavers Halloween special has some great candy dialogue.
I worked at Nickelodeon and I haven't thought about Angry Beavers in a long time.
Yeah. That episode's awesome because it's all like B-movie. They go to like the B-movie house, so there's all these bad monster jokes and stuff.
Ooh,
But
I
yeah.
have to find that. Yeah, I there's little things that like I think if you see them as a kid, it probably has more power over you. And Garfield going candy, 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 candy is one of those things. Like there's a few like lines and few sort of like dialogue-y things that really stuck with me. And definitely the music cues, like all the like little background music, in addition to like the songs that they sing or play, which I appreciate. One of the things that to me this special is so economical. It never overstays, like no scene ever stays too long. And like even the songs, which are really good songs, could have gone longer, but they don't. Like they kind of go in and out very, very quickly and move on to the next thing. And I appreciate that. I love conciseness. I love sort of like keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. But like I like the little sea shanty that's like playing through a lot of the special, and they kind of like slow it up and speed it down, speed it up, slow it down.
60 men all lost at sea, all of them drunk except for me. 'Twas I who had to face the storm with nothing in sight to keep me warm. Yo ho ho ho, over the raging sea we go. Yo ho ho ho, wherever the four winds blow. Hey!
Yeah, especially when they get to the pirate part.
Yeah.
Orange Beard the pirate and Odie the stupid.
Did you ever know like Odie has a theme, right? Like there's always like a little bit of music that always plays whenever we see Odie first come up on screen. And I'm trying to like, is it like a hunting theme or something? Like it kind of sounds
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
it doesn't make me
absolutely.
think like it's supposed to
Melody of
imply
the
that like
Eternal Optimist.
like I always think like it's meant to imply like he's like a dog that has like lineage to like a great line of hunting dogs. But
Wow.
somehow, so much inbreeding has happened that,
That's right.
You took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, it's for Odie the Optimist.
Well, I also think like maybe they're like, what's the most iconic dog song in time? And that's the Chasing the Fox music, pretty
is that
much.
what it is? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like whatever the horn playing is very similar to the Odie theme song, for sure. Yep.
Boom.
So they go up to the attic to look for Halloween costumes.
There should be some great Halloween costumes up here somewhere, Odie. John has never thrown anything away.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
Tell us why.
One of my favorite songs too.
Tell us why. What do you like about this scene?
Oh my gosh, just like not the alien part, but he gets to dress up as a black cat, gotta put on some big black pajamas and go as a big fat Halloween cat.
Can I interrupt for 1 second and say,
please?
So that's one of the songs that Lou Rawls doesn't sing.
No,
Lorenzo Music sings it.
Yeah.
Who's the voice of Garfield. We all are, I'm sure, no one here is not a super fan of Lorenzo Music. He's an amazing voice actor. Also the voice of Peter Venkman on The Real Ghostbusters.
At any rate, I need a nap. Wake me about 6.
His delivery, like I think even as a kid, I really responded to emphasis and like the way he would say certain lines, and even like the way he says like black pajamas, like just it just sounds so cool.
I could be a scary vampire and turn myself into a bat flap. Or I could put on some black pajamas, go as a big fat Halloween cat. What should I be? There's so many sides to me.
So cool. There's something so creative and so unique, like all the little different outfits he comes up with, and there's just a charming kind of moment, and Odie's just standing there getting the brunt of like stuff being thrown at him.
That's the thing, like the visual of Odie covered with all the costume stuff, and he kind of looks like a weird, like, I don't know what he's supposed to be. It's just supposed to be like a weirdo, right? Like it's just sunglasses and horns and weird wig.
Yeah.
Here's John's first bow tie. Tacky. Some sunglasses, Cousin Wanda's wig, Aunt Orpha's false teeth. Yuck, Roy Ogle's roots, strings, sealing wax, and all that funny stuff. Well, I guess there's nothing here. Very funny, Odie. Come on, let's keep looking.
For me as a kid, like that was like perfect humor for me as a kid. Like, there's
what
something
it
about
implies is that John had all that stuff
right
by himself.
Yeah. Well, I love that line. That's like, it's the passive aggressive line that he says. He's like, John never throws anything away.
Like that's what I was gonna say. He's a hoarder.
That's exactly what I thought. Low key hoarder. I like noted that.
Yeah, that's one of the jokes that hits harder as an adult than as a kid.
Yeah, it was just like hilarious. I mean, how many people can connect to that?
But yeah, I also love the sentiment of the Garfield's like, we can be whatever we want. Like, I just love that idea that like just gets to the essence of what's fun about Halloween, right? Like you can just get to pretend and just be someone different. And I think that song does a great job of capturing the fun of Halloween.
Eureka! The mother lode. Look at all this great stuff, Odie. With these costumes, we can be anything we want.
What should I be? There's so many sides to me. I could be handsome or brave, a king or a slave. It's all up to me. So what should I be? What could I be? What should I be?
to be? Who do you want to be today? Do you want to be just like someone else? Well, one of is so terrible. It's like a dread disease. Life could be worse when there's nothing on TV. I'd rather be a cowboy than to stand playing down the walls. I've been born so many times I can't remember them all. And I say, who do you want to be today? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be today? Do you want to be just like someone on TV?
So then they do go out on the street. They hit the town. John is like, yeah, gives them permission to like go trick or treating, be back before a certain time or whatever.
For your Cinderella moment.
But we don't see John for the rest of the special. He's like, they're just like, whoop, that's,
Sleeping.
we've established the setup, and it's like, goodbye, John. Garfield goes out. You guys mentioned that like John sees them as kids, but this is also a time where Garfield says that they're kids as well. Like there's the scene where Odie's scared of some of the kids in costumes, and Garfield goes, "Oh,
It's like they're kids." You don't
He said they're kids like us.
Yeah, they're kids like us, just like us, just like us."
Yeah.
Another great delivery. I love the scene where Garfield sees the kid with the mask, pulls the mask away, and the guy underneath is exactly like the mask.
It's very Gargamel in a lot of ways from the Smurfs.
Yeah. He does have that vibe, right?
Yeah.
Evil wizard.
Like that's the biggest question in my head every time I watch that. Is he just supposed to be a weirdo, a wizard underneath the mask of himself? Like, what is going on here? Who is this? Is he a creep?
Yeah, it could be like a henchman, like an Igor type out doing his
But I
master's
love
bidding.
how they go for like right as he chooses his costume, like all those pirate puns. And he's like ready to loot and pillage and like I like how they lean heavily into that.
I may be selfish, yeah, and all of that, but the one thing I'm not is a scaredy cat.
It's like hard to pick what my favorite song is, but the I'm Not a Scaredy Cat song is also a banger. It's very dramatic. It starts off like really cool. It's like Garfield trying to convince himself and everyone. He's like, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm Mr. Cool Guy. And then he like freaks out and like reaches these like high crescendo of like, ah, and they're like screaming. And it's almost like operatic, like alternating between this like Lou Rawls cool jazz to like an operatic like freak out moment of them like running away every time they see something scary.
I noted that the music was just like added
Hitting behind
seamlessly to the story, you know, and he's like, I may be lazy, I may be fat, I don't do laps, and I don't chat.
Yeah. And it's great because it feels like the song is definitely written for the character, for the moment.
For sure.
And even though Lorenzo Music isn't singing it, it's like so clearly like this is Garfield's inner voice. It's the cool version of Garfield that he thinks he is. Yeah, I just love it. Again, song doesn't last too long, but it's so fun.
Also, there's a ghost, and like an actual ghost in it.
Oh, right.
The pirate ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, before that, when
Yeah.
he was
Like an invisible kid.
Little sneak peek of like what's to come.
Yeah, there's a Bigfoot too. So we're establishing that there's a supernatural element to Garfield's world.
Right.
He's
But
in a weird neighborhood.
But it happens so quickly, like you don't think much about it because it just feels like throwaway gags. So at that point, you don't think like things are actually going to get scary. And then we have the trick-or-treating scene, which is it's so simple, but it's like Lorenzo Music deadpan delivery, so perfect. Knocks on the door, gimme. Just the way he says,
Gimme.
gimme.
And he was like, if you don't change, I'm definitely going to get you. And she's like, okay. Like, gives
I'm gonna get your
But that's another scene where I'm like, she doesn't hear him say those things.
No,
She just sees a cat with a sword flailing about. And then she's like, I better give this cat some candy.
And that's the halfway point, right? About.
Yeah, then they've
Yeah.
they've collected a lot of candy. Similar to the Pete and Pete Halloween episode, there's like a real emphasis on like how can we maximize, as much candy as we can get. There's this classic thing that if you grew up in the suburbs, you became aware over time, like which neighborhoods had the good candy, and then like how can we get more, like, oh, what if we went to another neighborhood and there's like a whole, other row of houses that you can get candy from. And that's really like when the new part of the story kicks in, and suddenly things are going to get a little bit more serious as they get on a rowboat. Logistics of where the story takes place, vague. I always think it's like New England, Maine, somewhere that like has like little off, small islands off the coast of the mainland. So that's why they want to go to like where the rich people live and get like the good candy. But because you've got Odie, who is not too smart, there's the scene where Odie throws the oars off the boat, and then they're kind of like,
And then he has a little existential crisis.
yeah, which I love.
I was gonna say, in Odie's defense, he just took it literal.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's not
my
dumb.
favorite joke in the whole thing is Odie just following the instructions to put out the oars and just
Right.
throwing them in the water.
Yeah. Why would Odie know that phrase? Like it's like Garfield's too caught up
He
in
can
the
doggy paddle, so he doesn't need oars.
That's right. Yeah. Odie's fine the whole time up until they get to the island and they find a spooky house. Another Garfield classic catchphrase.
Nice touch.
The fourth wall.
Yeah, that fourth wall meta. Garfield knows that this is like
I
now we're
replayed that part. I was like, wait, what?
I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Goes into the house and we meet the old man, who to this day I am shocked is not voiced by Thurl Ravencroft. He is one of the singers in Haunted Mansion when they're singing Grim Grinning Ghosts, and he is the narrator in When the Grinch, or How the Grinch Stole Christmas. One of the deepest baritone voices known to cartoon land. But this is not him. It's somebody else. I always thought it was him. I was shocked till I finally looked it up after all these years and was like, what? Some other man did the voice. But he sounds great. He's got this really deep hello kind of voice. And
You've picked a poor night to come visiting, my friends. This could be the worst night of your life.
he looks like, I don't know if this was the intention, but my thought was that he is meant to kind of look like the original Crypt Keeper or one of the kind of hosts of like the EC Comics era creepy magazine. Like
there also was like this 80s 90s trope that you could just, if you knocked on a door and nobody answered and it was open, you could just go into the house. Like kids would go in, like there was breaking and entering on the reg. in all these specials. We've been watching the old Are You Afraid of the Darks for fun after dinner, and every other episode some kid just goes into somebody's house. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, back in that time, like we were latchkey kids and the parents, they just let us wander around.
There were no keys. You could go anywhere.
Yeah. Garfield doesn't notice like the logic system of this. The house is clearly abandoned, or that's what
and yet there's a fire.
But there's an active fire that he goes to warm himself up.
Themselves by.
Yeah.
After their pirate journey is foiled.
Right.
The wild thing to me about the old man, who also dates himself as being about 110 years old.
Right.
You caught that one. He's so wildly animated. He's so detailed in comparison to Garfield and Odie that he becomes so scary in his details. Like the more detailed thing is, it kind of takes on a different kind of personality, and he's so creepy and he's so weird, and it just everything about this scene, especially when we get to the ghost pirates, are just so strangely animated to just be this juxtaposition to the simplicity of Garfield and that kind of cutesy world that we're originally introduced to, and now we're going into the realm of horror and scariness in a children's cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the things I really like about it, is that it has that kind of...
And those like lightning flashes were like so on point, like just to like ramp you up, like
yeah,
what's coming next, you know?
Do you believe this?
Believe it, my friends.
Yeah, and I think it does like horror really well because it really builds a sense of tension, right? That there's a few things of like the nervousness that they feel of like once this guy is revealed. I like that Garfield tries to break the tension. He keeps trying to break the tension and the guy's not letting it happen. Like there's that great line where he's like, "Do you believe this guy?" He's like, "Believe?" Like, whoa, okay. And like you said, the lightning. And then there's the funny moment where like the guy runs off and steals the boat. Like,
yeah, like the Disaparo act. They were like, "Wait, what?" Now we're stranded on this island.
Yeah, that guy's fast for 110 years old.
That cracks me up every time.
The scene when before they see him, when it's just the back of the chair, is the part that I remember being like creepy as a child.
Yeah.
Because lots of shows did that move too. Like I think there was like a Webster or something where there was like a chair in the attic with like he's like, who's in the, you know? Anytime you just see a chair with like rocking or something and you can't see who's in it, it's like
because our imaginations, right? Like
yeah, and then of course he just ignores. He doesn't even look at it. He just goes to the fire, and then they're surprised by the guy. And it's like, well, you could have looked. Like you passed the chair to get to the fire.
I think side note, I think I was in third grade. I was either in third grade or fourth grade when this TV special aired for the first time. And of course, I watched it the night it aired. And I have a very strong memory that the next day in school, so in my class, we were supposed to write a Halloween story and then read it to the class. And some kid basically read verbatim the story that the old man tells about the pirates and how he was one of the pirates, and and the contract is written in blood. And I was sitting in this class so frustrated because this was like my first introduction to the idea of plagiarism. I was just like, that was the Garfield special. I watched it last night. You didn't make this up.
So did you ever call the kid out?
I think I can't remember 100% if I did or not. I'm worried that I did, because now I'm like, who cares? Like, just we were in third or fourth grade. Doesn't matter.
He learned a good lesson.
And like every kid in class got up and just told the same story.
Right. We all like, wow, what a coincidence, man. But it's a great little pirate story. I love the idea that he was the cabin boy, that, and he's been waiting there all these years, like, for the 100th anniversary or whatever it is. One of the things that I probably really love most about this special is when the sort of like the ticking clock, the music that plays during that period where they're like building that tension. It's like doom, 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 doom. It's like very, very simple. And then like the strings come in, and as the ghosts are like coming in, they're all like they look like chalk drawings. They're so like the texture and wispy. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing like that we talked about, like the charm of hand-drawn animation, I think can't be beat. It's just like so specific to that time period.
And the Cinderella moment, because it was like midnight and you see the clock and it's like almost midnight.
Yeah, the big grandfather clock, the chimes of the clock. Love the joke where they're hiding in the little cabinet and the light's coming in. Like that's cool shot too, where it's like there's like light coming in through the cracks of the doors, and the ghosts open up ghosts like open up the little cabinet, and Garfield, like they're there, and then they like, what do? They like close the doors on them or something. And he's just like, maybe they didn't see us.
I think Garfield closes the doors and then the ghost pops its head through the door.
Right.
So like that's it.
Maybe they didn't see us.
And then they jump into the water, and Garfield can't swim.
Right. You can't, but he always forgets, right? He's like, oh, I forgot.
I forgot. And guess Odie the Stupid becomes the hero.
He does. And I do love that Garfield acknowledges that. Like, I think that's one of the things that makes this a satisfying little special, is that Garfield starts off super greedy. He's actually trying to trick Odie into giving him all his candy, and then has to admit that, you know, he isn't a great person, and that Odie really
Deserves half the bag.
deserves more.
Half the loot, I should say.
Yeah.
I always
He's like, you've saved my life 500 million times tonight.
They don't resolve the ghosts at all, though. They just leave them back there.
So in the book,
They got their
the ghosts
treasure.
the ghosts do
treasure.
chase them longer, I think, if I remember. The chase scene does actually go a little longer, and the ghosts do somehow make it to the mainland. But I have to look it up again. I forget. Someone in the chat, tell me.
I'm curious because it's like they went back to get their treasure and they got it.
They got.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't really
Why
need.
bother chasing them? But also, like, what does the ghost do with gold? The balloons. I've got questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. What do you do with money? Like, you can't take it with you anyway, right? So that's
Also,
the cautionary tale. Don't end up like the ghosts.
yeah, and the ghosts also assume that they become ghosts too. Like, hey, we're gonna become ghosts. And we're gonna go get our treasure. Like, what? What is this logic? What, you thought when you die you're just gonna come back? Okay, cool. Cool,
Yeah,
man.
but it would have been
100
cool
years
if
later.
if the cabin boy rowing away turned into a ghost as he rowed the boat or something too.
That would be really cool. That would be really spooky instead of a another talk show horror host.
But was it the old man at the end?
Yes.
Because I rewatched that, and the only difference I could see was that his eyebrows seemed like they were dyed black.
And he
Because
also
in
stole Garfield's hat.
Because in the
The pirate?
fire scene in the house, his eyebrows were white. Because I was like,
Well,
is he in a disguise now?
Sai, you gotta
Pirate
understand.
disguise.
So to be on television, you know, you've got to go in the makeup chair. You know, you're gonna get touched up. They're gonna do a little, you know, fluff.
Make him look youthful.
Yeah.
But I love that ending. I do like this sort of like vagueness of like, maybe it is, maybe, you know, like it was like, which came first? Is it a coincidence? Like, but the fact that he is like that horror host, because again, like for me, I tied it to like a Crypt Keeper kind of a thing. He becomes, what's Svengoolie? Who's the horror movie host? Late night horror movie hosts.
Like Elvira.
Mhm.
Why am I blanking on everybody? Vampira. Wow. I'm doing a really lousy job. There's a lot out there.
Yeah, we know it. We know what you mean. But it ties all together in a nice little circular thing because it ends with the television. It started with the TV. It ends with the TV. It has a, you know, like a real perfect little arc.
Boy, am I wired. I think I'll see what's on TV.
Good evening, and welcome to our all-night pirate movie festival.
Boy, am I tired.
And that is the Garfield Halloween adventure. And what an adventure it is for a cat to have.
Toy has 9 lives.
Yeah. So Todd,
So
you were
does
not.
he have 8 now after this?
So obviously, like, I was a super fan of this. Todd, you said you were not, like, you didn't grow up with it.
I watched it when I was a kid for sure. I mean, I remembered it, but it wasn't like, oh, Garfield special's on. You know, it was like, okay, I'll watch it because it's on.
Yeah.
Because
because like the character of Garfield just didn't speak to you, so it was like it.
Yeah, I mean,
no reason to go back to it.
I watched the Mark Summers Halloweens too, and it's like they were on. Not like I was like a super fan. It just was like, okay, I need to watch something. But yeah, this one, like I mean, I remembered it. So they did something right.
It's the pirates that got you.
35 years after seeing it, remember it. Yeah. But it wasn't like awful or anything. I wouldn't rail against it. I did find it weird that, I mean, you were talking about how they were trying to set it up where, we hear Garfield, but John doesn't. But there's just the fact that, like, he speaks all the time, but they don't animate his mouth is so off-putting to me, as like Garfield is clearly speaking words, whereas like Peanuts got around it in their specials by not having Snoopy's thoughts be in them and just having him make like little squeaky sounds and stuff.
Right.
Because in the strips, it's the same thing. It's like Snoopy talks, we can understand it. Sometimes it seems like the kids know exactly what he's saying because they say something that they couldn't possibly say if they hadn't heard it. But they got around that in the Peanut specials. And I feel like I would have liked it better if they just let Garfield just talk, since he's so clearly vocalizing everything. But Odie doesn't. So it's a very weird dynamic in there. Visually for me to watch, because it's like, what are the rules?
Sure, and I'm sure also one of the big rules was how much is this going to cost to make this cat actually talk?
Right,
like
and
actual lip syncing.
How did he fit his leg into that peg? That's my.
Oh, I wondered that too.
I'm like, did he
at the
amputate?
end, it's like he pulls.
He pops
like
it
his
out.
leg was in it, and he
Yeah.
pops it off at the end.
Yeah,
I was curious about that too.
As a kid, it always bothered me as well. I'm like, what? Even Odie had 4 peg legs in the beginning.
Oh my goodness.
Cartoon physics, man. Cartoon physics.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta.
Windy.
I did like the pop sound when he took it off. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Well, Odie, we've had a pretty successful evening.
Nice touch.
Nice touch. Well, on that note, guys, I think we should all figure out what we're going to be for Halloween so we can maximize as much candy as possible.
Candy.
Candy.
I can't wait for all that candy. It's just like that. It's funny.